of Zach Wilson, I think of Jimmy Garoppolo with wheels. So I'm excited to see what they can do, and I think that they're going to make the playoffs. The New York Jets are going to make the playoffs before the Jacksonville Jags.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Dominique, who will rush for more yards as a rookie? Najee Harris or Travis Etienne?
I'm going to go with Harris. I'm not sure how confident I feel about this, but I think that the Steelers have a great defense, and they're going to recommit to the running game and try to play that AFC North style of football that most of the teams in that division are playing. So I see Najee Harris being a big part of that, and Etienne down in Jacksonville, they got a rebuild to go through.
Yes, plus Etienne is going to be a wide receiver from what I read. We'll talk about that later. Meanwhile, Swagoo, who's going to start at quarterback first, Trey Lance or Justin Fields?
It's going to be Justin Fields, G. And listen, I know what Matt Nagy is saying, but you look at this quarterback, you look at his skill set, and as long as he can come up to speed as far as verbiage and getting the right reads and situations in game time and game play, which he'll have a full offseason to do, I believe Justin Fields will be the starter week 1. I think he'll have a lot of success.
Well, you referenced what Matt Nagy said. Let's make sure everybody heard it. Over the weekend, the Bears coach talking about this quarterback situation, reiterating his confidence in the veteran, Andy Dalton. Listen.
Andy is the starter. Andy's going to get the 1 reps. When you go up to draft a quarterback like Justin, everyone's very excited and they want to know when. And trust me, we all understand that. But we need to make sure that whatever that plan is that we put together, that it's the best thing for the Chicago Bears.
So Andy Dalton remains QB1, as they famously tweeted some weeks ago. Diana Rossini, you are sort of giving us a knowing smile. What do we know?
I was just thinking, Matt Nagy sounds like my mom when I was in college, and she said when I graduated, I had to move out of the house. I knew the whole time that wasn't going to happen. I moved out at 38 years old. That's how long I stayed. It's like the same thing. So here's what I think. I think he is all in to the idea of Justin Fields' plan. I do think we're going to see Justin Fields this season, but for now, the blueprint is going to be the famous blueprint that just works, and it's just such a great example, right? What the Kansas City Chiefs did. Andy Dalton is going to play the role of what we saw Alex Smith do as that veteran quarterback, the starter taking first-team reps, while good old, the okay average Patrick Mahomes sat behind him and then, of course, became the breakout player that he is. So they're trying to use that same blueprint, apply to Chicago, get the young rookie caught up, have him learn the offense, take that pressure off while he learns, and Andy Dalton can run the offense until they start losing.
So, Swagoo, as you hear the coach saying, Andy Dalton is our quarterback, what do you think?
I think in his heart of hearts, he knows he's lying, G. At some point, Justin Fields will take over the starting position in the offseason and be the starter. And listen, this is not based on emotion for me. I think Justin Fields, as far as what he'll be able to show now that we'll have an offseason and a preseason, will make it clear that he should be the starter going into week 1. Remember, last year, man, I was so enamored with Justin Herbert because he didn't have that opportunity. We didn't know what type of quarterback he was going to be based on all of the things that were talked about him coming out of Oregon, and he went and had a tremendous amount of success. And why did he have that success? Because of athleticism, because he can slow the game down by getting his own self out of trouble, and I believe Justin offers that as well. I'm not trying to take shots at Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has been a solid starter in the NFL, but you know what the damn Chicago Bears ain't looking for? A solid starter. So they're going to try to bring this young guy along. I understand why Matt Nagy is saying what he's saying, but I expect Justin Fields at some point to take over these first-team reps in the offseason and become the starter week 1 for the Chicago Bears.
Dominique, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Marcus is right. I think the Kansas City model worked because they were good the year prior. Their coach had job security, and they were good all season the year that Alex Smith last year there. This situation isn't like that. They made their playoffs last year, but nobody thinks that they were good, and no one thinks they're going to rip off a bunch of wins early in the season with Andy Dalton. The sooner that they can get Justin Fields taking reps with the ones, the more likely he is to succeed, and they have reason to believe he might have success because in Nagy's first year, Trubisky's second year, Trubisky made the Pro Bowl and was third in the NFL by QBR, using a lot of the athleticism that Trubisky had. Justin Fields does everything Trubisky does, but better. So I think that Matt Nagy has to be excited about the potential of doing that. And like Marcus said, no disrespect to Andy Dalton, But Andy Dalton ain't gonna do all that. The floor is pretty pretty high for Justin Fields because of his playing experience. The floor is pretty low for Andy Dalton behind a bad offensive line. Sorry, Diana.
So the Bears.
No, Dom, you're right. He's got to learn this offense too. That's something Nagy pointed out. Andy, this is a new offense for Andy, right? So we have everyone's learning right now, but he just might get the edge just because he has the experience.
So the Bears quarterback situation is intriguing.
Yeah, today.
Diana, I was going to say Diana living at home until she was 38 might actually be the most interesting thing that we came up with in that conversation. We will dive more deeply into that as our program continues. In the meantime, coming up, the gift the Cowboys received that should concern everyone in their division. It has nothing to do with Dak Prescott. Plus, Tom Brady said something that
worst way. I know he knows that, and we'll continue to work at it each and every day.
Well, each and every day, it seems worth taking the temperature of this situation. And we have just the right people bringing the thermometers today. Again, Diana Marcus and Dominique ready to go. Diana, what are we hearing? What is the latest with regard to Rodgers and the Packers?
Let's break down Matt LaFleur's soundbite just there. They want him back in the worst way. You can feel the desperation because that's where the Packers stand at this point. They are continuing to try to fix this broken relationship as Aaron Rodgers continues to say that he is not returning to the Packers. This is not the plan. So we know this, and I'm going to just keep saying this over and over on the show with you. If they were to trade him, which we know the Packers do not want to do this, it would be after June 1 in order for them to save some money against their salary cap. But that being said, at this point, the only thing we can report is that they are hoping somehow that this relationship can get fixed, Mike.
And maybe the one thing they have going best in their favor on that quickly, Dominic, you made that point, is that if they do decide to play this game of chicken all the way to the end and just say, we're not budging, we're not trading, and no matter what, the one piece of this that might be the most difficult for Rodgers himself, Nick, I thought you had an interesting thought on that.
I think it's a tough way to end your career. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to miss the money. I'm not sure that he'll miss the Super Bowl that they might win. That stuff is important, but I don't think that'd be as painful as when he gives his Hall of Fame speech to have to talk about the end of his career. The last play being them kicking that field goal and then him being disgruntled about them drafting Jordan Love and never playing again. So if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I'm certainly not trading Aaron Rodgers because he's going to go somewhere else and dominate. And there's no way you can look good because Jordan Love is not going to have this team playing as well as Aaron Rodgers will have any team out there that he goes to playing. And if I was Gutekunst, I'd call Aaron Rodgers and just lay it out that way. The big picture is like, is this how you want your career to end?
All right, so that's a pretty good sales pitch. But Marcus, you had, I think, the most interesting thought of the morning as I was going through everybody's notes, which is as you see the Packers adding these extra